Do you have to tell police that you have a gun in South Carolina? That's a really interesting question. The thing about that is that I don't know that there's a specific law, and I can't point to one or think of one where you're legally required to say, officer, I have a weapon. Officer, I have a loaded gun. Officer, I have a gun. But I think that almost everybody who's a law-abiding citizen always tell the police when they arrive that they have a loaded gun. And I think it just makes sense. The other part of it is when the police arrive and they're being called to something where there was danger, something's going on, they don't know who's who, they don't know who could harm them, and they all have loaded guns, and we all know that. And they've got loaded guns. They're trained to use them, and they may even have their guns out, at their side or even pointed at you or other people as they arrive. You see this image, and it's very accurate, of police with guns drawn, yelling, get on the ground, put your hands up, drop the weapon, that sort of thing. So legally, I can't point to a law that says where it says in the law that when police arrive, you're required to tell them that you have a weapon. If somebody is aware of that, I'd be interested in knowing it, because I don't know that exists. But in terms of life and the way people act, most people are going to tell somebody that they have a gun and they're going to have a weapon. The other part of that is, and we talk about this in some other videos, is that the way the law is now in South Carolina with our open carry, the gun can be anywhere. And so if the police officer is getting you out of the car and you stand up and the police officer sees a gun in the car seat where you just stood up, he or she's going to have this rush of fear and emotion where they realize they could have been killed because the gun was right next to your hand. So that's going to change the dynamics of that encounter a lot, okay? So if they discover that you had a gun and you never told them, they're going to interpret that as somehow you weren't being honest or you were lying to them. Now, forget all the rights you have at this point, because you don't have to do any of this stuff legally, but it's going to change the dynamics of that. So legally, do you have to tell the police you have a gun? I would say the answer to that is no, not legally. You do not have to tell them that you have a gun.